like this autopilot we're doing right now. Okay.
So if it doesn't make this turn, it's going to get a thumbs down.
Well, we'll probably have other things to deal with if that is the case.
Hey, Pat.
Yo, what's up, Antonio? How are you, man?
I'm good, man. It's a little bit cool out here. I thought San Diego would be warmer.
I know. I'm sorry. You want to go on a car ride? I'll warm you up a little bit.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Can you come pick me up?
Yeah, I'll get you right now. Thanks, man.
Cool.
Bye.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
What's up, man?
This is a cool car.
Dude. Glad you're here, bro.
Yeah, thanks
Good
for
to see
having
you.
me.
No,
Good
dude.
to see you.
We're just going to go on a little drive.
Okay.
You cool?
Yeah, I'm
cool.
gonna put my seatbelt on.
Yes, let's do that. But Antonio, I just wanted to thank you, first of all. You've helped me out so much. And I know you know this because I've told you before, but there's a reason why I dress this way. And I've gotten so many compliments about how I dress.
You have won, like, contests, haven't you? Like, is the best dressed guy?
Yeah, I have, and it's all because of you. You taught me why I needed to dress up. I started speaking in 2011. You sent me an email. You're like, Pat, I shot this video for you, and it was like 20 minutes long. You remember this?
Yep.
And you taught me some basic knowledge that was so transformational for me about style and why I needed.
I think the key point was, like you said, the why. Because I talked about, you were in the Berkeley band, correct?
Yeah.
And when you walked out on that field wearing your uniform, did anyone question why you're there, who you are?
No.
No. And it's the same thing in life. Like, if you want to be successful, you want to do something amazing, you need to start looking like that amazing person. And so many people, it's foreign to them because we live in a culture that doesn't push that says, a book shouldn't be judged by its cover, but it is.
Right.
And I just want guys, men in particular, but I think I have so many women follow my channel as well, because I want them to just understand it's about the message you're sending and just control the message, whatever it may be.
And your channel's blown up. I mean, how many subscribers do you have now on YouTube?
We're well past 1.7 million.
So did you actually receive a gold play button?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
You haven't gotten one yet? Or you're on your way, right?
I'm close to 100,000.
Yeah.
So we'll get there. I'm getting the silver one. But dude, I'm so happy about this because you're teaching so much stuff that like they don't teach you in school, right? And the craziest part, Antonio, was like, okay, you taught me how to dress. I bought some and invested in some nice clothes, and I immediately just felt more confident.
And that comes, out of Northwestern University, they talk about this. It's called ENCLOTHED cognition. And it's the idea that the clothing that we wear doesn't just affect how others perceive us, but how we perceive ourselves. And the classic study is basically they put these guys in doctor's jackets. They told them they were doctor's jackets. And they performed statistically higher on exams when they thought they were wearing a doctor's jacket. And if you think about it, it applies to sports. Like, guys love their lucky hats. They love their lucky, guys, lucky jock straps, whatever it may be. And they're very careful with these things, and it does have a measurable effect on their performance.
How did you get started in all this? Like, why did you start this channel? How did you get into fashion?
So I had a clothier, and it was not getting any business. And I had to figure out a way how to get business to the clothier. And I figured out information marketing, or at least I liked creating content. So I was trying to get all these visitors to my little website, to my clothier out in Wisconsin. And Brett McKay over at The Art of Manliness picked me up. He said, hey, you're a good writer. So I started writing for him, and he showed me the power of information marketing. And I just saw what he was doing. I'm like, well, how about I do it on via video? And there was this other guy doing it, and I'm like, I can do it better than him. Turns out now he's one of my best friends and business partners. And I just realized that, there's just a huge a blue ocean out there to be able to go in and just, create this content. And I love the impact it has, and that's probably the thing that keeps me going. Like, money's nice. We've had great success with the business. I closed my clothier, and I actually went into bankruptcy with it. It was that bad. Oh, wow. But what I was able to do is to take that loss and that failure and say, what I'm really good at is creating this content. And so we focused in on video because I found it was very light for me. John Dumas talks about this, how do what's light. For him, it's podcasting. For me, it's video. I don't mind getting up in front of the camera nowadays and talking.
Was that always the case?
Pretty much. I hated typing. I wrote about 100 articles for The Art of Manliness, for other blogs, for my own blogs, but I can't type. I literally, I do it with 2 fingers. And so I'm like, well, the video, I can just talk all day.
Yeah.
And it was so easy. And now, I've got a team of writers. They take my videos, they create articles from them, they create podcasts from them, they create infographics from them. And so one video, I can create like 10 pieces of content.
Tell me more about that. Like, give me an example.
So an example is like I film a video, let's say on, what not to wear. If you wear this, you're going to get your butt kicked. I mentioned that the other day. And we start off with stolen valor. And from that, I can create an infographic, because there are 5 points that I talked about, 5 things not to wear. So I could create an infographic. Then we can slice and dice that infographic, create small pictures for Instagram, which are part 1 of 4, part 2 of 4, part 3 of 4. I can then, that video, we then cut it down to 15 seconds, 30 seconds, and maybe 2 minutes, because normally my videos are about 5 to 10 minutes. And then, so we've got all these smaller videos, which I can post all over Facebook. I can also do a transcription. I can do a show notes. And then we can create detailed articles. And so from there, 10 pieces of content right there.
From one video.
From one video.
How do you decide to do that video?
I go in and I look at what's trending. I have a Facebook group with about 50,000 members. I don't do any advertising. I use that group solely for research. I also go out there and I look at what other creators are making that's actually doing well. And then I've got my guiding principles of what I want to stand for, what's important to me. And I make sure that those are all aligned. So I'm not going to create something that, yes, may be trending, but I think is not going to provide any value to my audience. And so I put all those factors together. I try to create something that will do well traffic-wise, that again is aligned with my principles, and is also gonna, possibly be something that we can monetize. So you don't want to, there are certain topics which just won't make money. Other topics which could get you banned on YouTube. So you got to be careful with hitting certain things. But the principles for me are very key. Like when you get into business, you need to know what you're going to stand for, what you're not going to stand for, and I know that. There's certain people I don't want to work with. If they're going to be difficult, if they're not going to, if they don't have, if they don't have the same values, and everyone's got, slightly different values. But for me, I always look at, I've got a 13-year-old son, I've got 3 daughters, and they're going to watch my content someday. And everything I put out needs to, you can't bash a certain sex. You can't go off and really create. I'm not for shock content. I'm not going to do pranks, because that stuff isn't me.
Even though those things are working on,
and even though they'll get millions of views, it's just, I don't want any drama. There's enough drama. Everything is positive. Again, talking with John, I said, I really stopped listening to his podcast because it was a little bit too simple, a little bit too early, and I wanted more like a little bit higher end stuff, higher level education. He's like, well, that's perfect. And really, a lot of people that listen to John, it's about motivation. It's inspiration. And I realize in many ways that's what my channel is about, because we never talk down. We're always like that person that maybe is at a higher level. We reach down and just lift people up.
Yeah, I love that. Now, you mentioned monetization and like building a business out of teaching this stuff. Like, and what does that look like, actually?
So now for us, advertising is very big. And I've got my guys over at Menfluential Media, which was another business we created out of this one. But they basically handle all of her leads, because we reach so many people. A video we put out within 24 hours will get anywhere from 30,000 to sometimes 50,000 people. And then over the period of a year, could get millions of views. So advertisers want to get into that content. And we work from shoe companies to high-end, crazy, $50 toothbrushes, which is like, oh, well, who would spend $50 on a toothbrush? But then you explain, well, you're going to the dentist, and if you're not brushing correctly, you're going to spend $5,000 to get those teeth replaced or to get veneers as you age. So to actually have a toothbrush that has a 2-minute timer, which is how long you should brush your teeth, and actually, actually has this like certain things what you put it in, and it cleans off all the bacteria. A lot of toothbrushes have fecal matter on them, so it's like things like that to be able to clean that up. And it's like you show people why this is valuable, and they end up buying it. But that toothbrush, most people aren't going to buy a $50 toothbrush. But after watching my video, 10 tips or 10 mistakes you're making brushing your teeth, they're like, well, maybe I'll consider it. And then we try to direct them to go purchase that. And I only talk about things that I've reviewed, things I actually wear, things I actually use, so I can talk about them with integrity.
Love it. So both men and women who are watching this right now, what are some high-level strategic tips that you can give in terms of style? Let's go back to that. I think that's something that I admire you for, is just how through that you're able to help us transform our lives. So somebody who is just kind of disheveled or doesn't even think very much about what they wear, they just kind of wear what's comfortable. How would you recommend that? Okay, let's say maybe they're going to an event, like a conference, like the one that we're at right now. How might they dress? How might they approach that?
Well, first off, they've got to know there's always a dress code. Whether or not, no one's going to say there's a dress code at social media marketing world, but you notice nobody's walking around naked. So there apparently is one.
Or in sandals.
Yeah. Well, there are a few people walking around.
Oh, we are in San Diego. We are in San Diego.
We are in San Diego. But what message do you want to send? And I saw there was like someone dressed up as a cartoon character floating around, another person dressed up, as a little bit of a surfer. This thing moves.
Dude, it moves. Yeah. It moves. But that thing moves too, and it'll fall off if I keep going. So I'm not gonna do that again. Sorry.
Good. I don't think we could have gone too far. But it's about controlling the message. A lot of guys say they're a t-shirt and jeans kind of guy, but you know what? That's a fashion trend. Mm-hmm. It's been going on for a while, and so what you're really telling me is you haven't thought about it. And I get it. It's okay. I think a lot of people lie to themselves, and they say that it doesn't matter, but it does. Otherwise, again, they wouldn't wear anything, or they would just wear a paper bag or something. It really comes down to take the time to send the message you want to send. And for men, it's so powerful. It's just an easy way to up the ante. And for women to be able to know, hey, am I, maybe sending a message, or can I control it a bit more with certain colors? So with this conference, if you're going to speak, why not go on stage in a nice jacket that's going to build up your shoulders, slim up your waistline, wear a nice red tie. This red is a power signal. There's a classic study of a guy that he's on video, and he's talking, and he reads the exact same script. Mm-hmm. He wears a red sweater in one of the videos. The next sweater, everything's the same, except it's like a white sweater. There's almost no color. Everyone believed the man in the red sweater. It's much higher percentage of people agreed and thought he was correct versus the no colored sweater. It's like, so red has this powerful effect on being able to convince people that you are competent, that you are an authority. And when you understand that, it's like, why would I not take it? There's so many things you can't control. Whether or not they have the presentation set up right, whether or not, the speaker before you went on too long. But if you can actually convey strength when you just, without saying a word, why would you not take this advantage? It's like playing a basketball game and immediately being offered 10 points to start the game. Why would you not take that?
Right. That's really interesting. Okay, so let's talk about the brand and kind of where you want it to go. I mean, it's growing so fast, and you're coming out with content every day, is it?
Pretty much. Like, we put out 4 videos a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. I want to get to 7 days a week, but I don't want to be a slave to my business. I'm a big fan of, Michael Gerber's E-Myth Revisited,
Mm-hmm.
Sam Carpenter's Build This, or was it Build the System, or one of those. Sam Carpenter's got a great book on it, and Dan Sullivan over at Strategic Coach. All these guys talk about being able to create a company that runs like a nice watch that you can occasionally shake, you wind, but in a sense runs on its own. Mm-hmm. And you just have to occasionally look at it and make sure that the time is correct.
So tell me about your typical week. Like, what does that look like for you work-wise?
Well, I have an office about 800 meters from my house in a small town of 1,000 people. So it just shows you can build anything anywhere in the world. Right. And I usually will drive to work because it is freezing cold right now in Wisconsin. About, it's like 10 below zero, 20 below zero. Plus, I'm going to be running errands after I get off work. Mm-hmm. But I will go into the office usually at about 9 or 10, because before that, I've been spending a lot of time with my family. We've got 4 young kids. My wife and I homeschool. I say my wife and I, but she's a saint, and she is an amazing woman. Anyone out there that, they think they can do this alone, they're wrong. You've got to have great partners.
For sure.
Business, personal. And we make breakfast for the kids. We usually get up not too early, although I do try to get to the gym at 5:30. But the first 3 to 4 hours a day I'm spending with my kids.
Yeah.
And
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
It's amazing. I mean, and to be able to get that best part of their day with them when they wake up on their own. They're already like almost a year ahead of school, because my wife just does a great job with the homeschooling, and we call it world school because we also travel quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I'm maybe in the office by 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and then I've got usually meetings with my team. There are a lot of people in the Philippines, a lot of people in Ukraine. I've got about 18 people that I work with, mm-hmm. and a lot of those people, it's already evening for them. Mondays I do come in earlier because of our team meeting at 8 a.m. But I'm usually meeting with my team early to make sure everything's great, although we rarely ever have any fires or anything crazy going on. Mm-hmm. And then I try to get some of the most important things done. So for me, filming video, creating content is very high. Like I said, sponsorships are a big thing for us. But also, by early afternoon, I've maybe got a lot of that content created. And then I'll be able to do what else I need to be doing, which is actually building relationships, talking with people, engaging with my partners over at the Menfluential Media Company. Mm-hmm. We just had a conference this last weekend, so I was spending a lot of time on that, making sure everything was good to go with the conference. And then, you know, afternoons going in and just going through systems, making sure that they're optimized. I mean, there's always things that pop up. Every day is a little bit different. But so I wouldn't say I've got a perfect system there. But it is something I realize I want to be done by 3, 4 o'clock, and be able to then to go home. My son usually goes to the gym at about 3:30, so I like to go watch him with the trainer. Again, we're homeschooling, so he's got we've got a local trainer that we work with, and kind of him and a number of other boys. They kind of stay up on their stuff, getting ready for football. Which for years I resisted him playing football, but he ends up asked me for 3 years straight. I allowed him. And he turns out to be like a star running back for the team, and so I'm like, okay, like he's much better than I ever was.
That's awesome.
It's like, yeah,
that's cool. You want to continue this conversation outside for a little bit?
Sure, let's do it. Now, you were asking a question about like how people can brand themselves.
Yeah, because
right?
your brand is so great, Real Men, Real Style, and it has just such notoriety in the space that you're in. Everybody knows it who knows fashion.
Yep.
How can you build that? Like, how are you able to do that so well?
Well, I've been doing this for 10 years, and that's what a lot of people forget, is that you don't start and build Rome in a day or build up this empire. I started off just simply writing blog posts for someone that had an audience, and I gave him my best. And I always, every single day, I put in that, and I was eager to learn. I had no ego. I needed to make money, but it was something that I realized, okay, like this guy, Brett McKay over at the Art of Manliness, knew a lot more about getting traffic to a blog than I did. And so I took notes. I talked to him. That was my compensation, is that I got the insight. So I started writing more on mine, and then I realized there's this whole blue ocean with video. Very few people creating video. Yeah. So I was pretty fortunate to get in early, but you can still get in. There's still opportunity. I've seen people grow amazing YouTube channels in just the last year by actually being, basically fabulous. So you can be first, fabulous, or the other F, which I'm not going to say here on this one, is, but I always think like there's a way to be first. So I just met a guy the other day. He's got a YouTube channel, and he's talking about, for basically style for men over the age of 40. I love it. Yeah. He niched down, and you talk a lot about this, basically identifying where there's a burning problem and where people are willing to, part with their hard-earned money willingly because you're going to solve that burning problem, and then go in there and dominate for it. And there's always new niches being formed. There are always new things changing. The media changes. There's always like some new kid on the block that you can go in and jump in, whether it be live video, whether it be Facebook watch, whether whatever it may be. There's always something new that you can come in and just own and dominate.
Love that.
I think part of it though is, again, for 10 years I have consistently put out style content. I've stayed very focused. Like I go off, like I made a mistake about 7 years ago. I put out a video on reviewing it was called the Creative Roar. It's a portable speaker. My audience hated it, and for good reason. Why is a style guy reviewing this speaker? It just didn't make sense. I thought it was kind of fun, but my audience rejected. So that told me very clearly I need to stay pretty much style, grooming, business communication, which kind of goes into, so I stay with these body language things. I realize I can't go too far from my main niche, which is men's style, men's fashion. And that's kind of where I keep and I maintain, like my main flagpole is at. And then I do build around it, but I always go back to what kind of built me in the space. And there are ways of like a company wants to rebrand itself at some point, but for 10 years, I've consistently planted flags around my main base. And that just simply became an unassailable in many ways like platform that I was able to build.
Great, because we hear all the time now, you got to build your brand, right? And a lot of people think that means you need a good logo, right? Yeah. Or you need a good name, but it's much more than a name, right? Like what beyond the name, Real Men, Real Style, is the brand?
Well, we're walking around the conference, I keep running into people, and they know that, they tell me how they used my videos to dress for the conference, to actually become more professional. And it's always humbling, but it's also, it reaffirms that they understand that I'm about the professional man, and I knew who my avatar was. I thought about, I mean, it took me a while to figure it out, and I've got many different ones, but he's this like 42-year-old guy that maybe has had something transition. He's either left the military, he graduated from college, he went through a divorce, something happened that he changed, and he needed to pay attention to his image. So he comes and he finds my channel, and he's like, okay, this guy is about professional style. If he wants bad boy style, he'll go see my friend, Aaron Marino. He's got an entire business built around that over at Alpha M. Or if he wants young man style, he'll go to Jose over at Teaching Men's Fashion. If he wants dandy style, he'll go to Gentleman's Gazette, Raphael Schneider. All these people are my good friends. And that's another thing how I was able to build my brand is I brought in all these other guys. We created the conference. I kind of became, because it's my conference, I became the host of the party. And these other people, they helped me like further, like I surrounded myself with my peers. And I refined my brand because I realized I had to separate myself from these other guys. And we're in an ocean with tons of, fish there ready to be caught, basically people to work with, people to help. And I realized I just need to be really clear with my message, know who it is, and to continue to build around it. And occasionally we overlap a bit, but oftentimes we're more than happy to pass on, hey, this guy wants to work with you, this company is a better fit now that we work with a lot of sponsorships and stuff like that.
I'm just so inspired by your success, and it's
well,
just making me.
Well, I have to admit, I mean, it was your ebook. Years ago, I think that's how I got up on your radar. I just told you how, I followed your advice, created an ebook, The 7 Deadly Style Sins, which people can still download.
Ebook's the smart way.
Yeah,
that's what
ebook's the smart way. And I created this little ebook using Microsoft Word. I turned it into a PDF. To this day, it's still almost the same. And I mean, we've had probably 1 million people download that ebook.
Insane.
It is crazy.
I love it.
And and they happily give me an email address for a solid 47-page ebook that teaches them, builds up this trust, and of course lets them know about my courses, my advertising opportunities, my website, my video, my app, my podcast, my other 25 different ebooks, my free courses, my premium courses. But all of these things over a decade have built up based off of starting with something as simple as free content. You talked in your story about how you had a website with all that information, and then you packaged it up into an ebook and started to sell it. I did the same thing. I didn't reinvent the wheel. I simply copied what you did, and it worked. And it blew me away that people would pay initially $17 for an ebook that, hey, you can get this for free. It's just simply my best articles brought into an ebook. Then I upped the price, $27. Then I upped the price to $47. Then I felt bad about that because I'm like, well, if I'm going to pay, for that much money, they should get a course. So I took those free articles and added like a little gamification, improved them a bit, and rewrote them, turned it into a course, which I charged $97, now $197 from something I used to give away for free. And every single day, those people buy it, the checks come in, they purchase it, and we've created multiple courses, multiple revenue streams. So it's, like you said, Smart Passive Income showed me the power of multiple revenue streams, from affiliates to products, multiple products to multiple advertising streams to having even live events. And again, the great part is, so our buddy, Ramit Sethi, he killed the affiliate program. And most people, you tell them that, oh, your business is going to lose 50 to 100,000 this year. It's like, oh my gosh, like, okay, well, I've got other revenue streams. It was just one of 20 that we were receiving. And now we've got a new affiliate who in this first month made us 50,000. So it's like, I'm going to blow past Ramit, and I'm happy I had that one. But when you've got 20 different revenue streams and one dies, you just simply, okay, I've got to go back in here and replant and find other things that I can grow here.
Yeah. Dude, congratulations on
Thank
all
you.
of your success. Thank you so much for the help.
I appreciate you, Pat. Freaking phenomenal resource. I love what you do. And I tell people, it's like, you've got an amazing trust factor with your people, because you bring in amazing, smart people, and it's always about authenticity and about the real deal, from you putting up your numbers to actually, you being the real deal, to going after haters in the sense of, I've got to show them that I'm a real person. Everyone sees how much you love your audience and you care about them. And to me, that's the secret to your success. Is you just love your customers, you love your audience. You're scared to sometimes turn them into customers, even though we want to give you money for courses, but yeah.
Well, that's the secret. I just care, just like you do for your audience too. So, you guys, thank you so much for watching this. Check out Antonio at Real Men, Real Style. All the links are below in the description, in the card, in the end card, all the good things. Any final words of advice for people?
Get started. that's the one regret I have, is that I didn't listen to you sooner.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate
You're welcome.
you.